English news bulletin broadcast to you from Canal, Algérie. First, to the headlines. The President of the Republic sets up the General Inspectorate of the Presidency of the Republic with powers extending to all sectors except for the national defense and judicial activities. Pursuant to the guidelines of the President of the Republic, the first Algerian national in Romania in the Boumediene International Airport in a special plane. The ever-mounting violence against the different social categories threatens stability in Morocco, so far unable to meet the citizens' demands. Good evening, those were today's headlines. First, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, set up this Thursday the General Inspectorate of the Presidency of the Republic, whose prerogatives include all sectors except for the national defense and judicial activities. 76 Algerian nationals landed a few hours ago at the Boumediene International Airport, coming from the Romanian capital Bucharest, after being stuck there since the beginning of the ongoing war in the region. At the airport, they were welcomed by the Foreign Affairs Minister as well as other figures. Our nationals expressed their joy for regaining their homeland and thanked the Algerian authorities in charge of this operation, pursuant to the guidelines issued by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune. For his part, the Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad Minister had this to say to the newsman.
The Algerian authorities remain at the disposal of those remaining there. We hope that they will contact our embassy to inform them about the situation. The embassy is ready to help them to regain their homeland.
Earlier in the day, the Algerian ambassador to Romania announced that the Algerian authorities had taken all the necessary measures to help the Algerian nationals stuck in the neighboring countries to regain their homeland. Let's have a listen to him.
Algerians hailing from Ukraine, we transferred them to two hotels, already to welcome them. We are ready to receive other Algerians with a second flight. The Foreign Affairs Ministry has put at our disposal all the necessary means to help our nationals settled in Ukraine to regain their homeland.
Ukraine and Russia have agreed at the end of a second session of talks to open humanitarian channels for the repatriation of civilians from fight zones, announced an advisor to the Ukrainian presidency. A member of the Ukrainian delegation stated that the second session of negotiations is over and unfortunately there are still not the expected results for Ukraine. He added that there is only one solution to set up the humanitarian corridors in question. For their part, the Russian forces announced that they have already repatriated 142,500 people zone, including nearly 40,000 children and about 600 foreign nationals living in Kiev, Mariupol and Kharkov. Moving on to the parliamentary activity, the National People's Assembly held a meeting. Ibrahim Boughali, President of the Assembly. The meeting was devoted to the examination of the amendments proposed to the bill on the modalities of exercise of trade union rights. The Assembly's Bureau also submitted 22 amendments which meet the legal requirements to the Health, Social Affairs, Labor and Vocational Training Commissions. Still with the National People's Assembly, which held on Thursday a plenary session devoted to oral questions. These questions were addressed to the Minister of Mohamed Arqab, who indicated that the state works to ensure stocks of fuel sufficient for 30 days of consumption at the national level instead of the current 6 to 8 days stock. The oral questions were also addressed to the Minister of National Solidarity as well as the Minister of Public Works. Modernizing the health system requires the digitization of the whole sector. This process tops the ministry's priorities so as to better serve the patients and help the medical staff in accomplishing their noble mission. Laetitia Sidqawi.
Digitizing the health sector, a fundamental step in improving service delivery within public health institutions, a digitization that will considerably simplify and facilitate the medical staff's mission.
Let's say I want to know the medical case of a patient in Al-Wad. I can have access to his medical file in a few steps, and I can give him my opinion as a specialist. We cannot set up a health system without digitization.
Digitization, a priority identified by the Ministry of Health in order to improve the care of patients and to ensure better management of assets in hospitals, a strategy that the sector intends to adopt in order to optimize services in the country's health facilities.
Digitization of all related facilities is an operation conducted at the level of the Health Ministry through various digital means in everything concerning health, which includes the patient, the medical file of the hospital, the purchases, stocks, the market, and the visibility. Digitization is fundamental for the improvement of everything related to health.
An operation that will be done through the National Digitization Agency, in which will be based essentially on equity in the medical care of patients. When the patient arrives to the emergencies or for the consultation, the doctor taking care of him will automatically have access to his file on the laptop. However, everything will be done in a certain order, according to the emergency. Our priority is the digitization at the level of the hospital to facilitate the access to patients' medical files. The operation will first affect the most frequent hospitals in the country before being generalized later in all health facilities throughout the national territory.
A qasr or castle more than 2 centuries old, located in the bright oasis of the Saura, has been rehabilitated and restored by a local association to the great delight of tourists eager to help develop this vital sector. Laetitia Sidqawi once again.
The Qasr of Warurut, one of the 3 main qasurs in the old town of the Pearl of the Sawra Ibn Abbas. It was built more than 250 years ago, and for its preservation and showcase, an association has carried out its renovation to make it a flagship tourist destination and allow visitors of Bani Abbas to discover the ancestral traditions of the region.
Our association was created in 2003. The headquarters of the association is arranged on 8 rooms, original and simple. We have preserved the architectural character of the building, so we used wood, clay and palm leaves. We have built by producing a Sahrawi stamp faithful to Ibn Abbas and the whole region.
A know-how and specific materials to maintain the old atypical character that fascinates more and more tourists. Desert tourism is something new for me. The welcoming was great. The rooms have a particular style that is not found in the modern ones. The accommodation is good. It's atypical. There are sometimes caves in the rooms, and the food is excellent and organic. The qasrs are not only the witness of a history, but also a lifestyle close to nature, which is as fascinating as ever.
Today, March the 4th, coincides with the 65th anniversary of the death of one of Algeria's matchless figures, namely Al-Arabi Ben Mhidi, a valiant martyr who became a source of inspiration to all Algerians. A tribute ceremony was held in his hometown, Douar Kouahi, located in the municipality of Ain Mlia in Al-Bouaqi province. On the occasion, the Mujahideen minister or war veterans L'Eid Rbika honored several members of the revolutionary family and martyrs' widows. Moroccan citizens keep taking to the streets to denounce the Makhzen regime and their terrible life situation marked by the high cost of living, poverty and unemployment. Melissa Kibash has more details.
The Moroccan people remain determined in face of the Makhzen regime. The streets are still packed and the still ongoing by citizens to denounce their terrible living conditions, namely the high cost of living, poverty and marginalization.
وهذه الوقفة هذه كتجي هي احتجاجا على غلاء المعيشة.
The Moroccan people are suffering. This protest movement is motivated by the high cost of living, poverty and marginalization.
The social situation in Morocco continues to deteriorate and keeps getting more and more complicated. Numerous sectors, including education, employment, and aspirations of citizens.
هاد المدينة هذه ما فيها حتى شي حاجة اللي يمكن عندنا بنادم تقدر ما فيهاش شي حاجة ديال العيش.
This city doesn't provide a proper education services. We have no work. This is why young Moroccans are fleeing their country.
باقي عندنا الغلاء، باقي كنعانيو من إجبارية التلقيح، باقي كنعانيو من عدة سياسات.
We're suffering from the high cost of living, the mandatory vaccination imposed by the government. We came out to denounce these terrible conditions with the aim of getting a decent life.
مواطنين ومواطنات خرجنا نحتجوا على حقنا في العيش الكريم.
It is worth recalling that the protesters have initiated several strikes in various sectors of activity across the Moroccan territory. A total of 51 cities responded favorably to the call of the Social Front, including the leftist opposition parties, notably the major cities such as Rabat, Casablanca, Marrakesh, Meknès and Agadir.
In another development, 19 teachers have been arrested and others injured in Morocco during a violent repression of the peaceful protests organized in front of the Ministry of Education in Rabat to protest against the fact of not meeting their socio-professional grievances. Several videos uploaded on the different social media platforms showed teachers being violated and insulted by security agents. Despite the repression, the teachers remain determined to keep struggling for their rights and continue their strike, which began on February 28th and will continue until the 6th of March. Always in Morocco, where nearly 1,200 illegal immigrants try to cross the high fence protecting the Spanish enclave of Melilla on Thursday, and about 350 of them succeeded, according to the local authorities. The massive illegal immigration operations targeting the Spanish enclave came less than a year after the operation of May 17th and 18th, where thousands of Moroccans immigrated illegally with the complicity of Moroccan border guards. And finally, their preparations for the upcoming Mediterranean Games, due to be hosted by Algeria, are underway in the province of Oran, where numerous sports facilities have been mobilized and accommodated to welcome the participants in this event. The details with Melissa Gabash.
Only 3 months to go before the Mediterranean Games, the province of Oran is getting ready to receive the participants in its new sports facilities. A case in point, this Olympic Stadium, built according to international standards, can accommodate up to 40,000 spectators and will host several competitions, in particular the inauguration and closing ceremonies. Another example, only 3 kilometers away from the sport facility is the Olympic Village, located in Belqayed at the east of the province, is ready for its part as well to welcome the athletes taking part in the sporting event. This event was an opportunity to renovate numerous sport facilities, including the Hamoud Boutlili Sports Hall, the Olympic swimming pool, and the Equestrian Center. It is worth noting that other infrastructures have been built, namely the terminal of Ahmed bin Bella, with a capacity of 3 million passengers. Both tourism and craft sites have put at the disposal of visitors public and private hotels, and opened 15 other facilities with a capacity of 2,000 beds. During his visit to the province of Oran, the president of the International Committee for the Mediterranean Games, David Tizano, was pleased with the work accomplished so far and the efforts deployed, and expressed his optimism as to the success of this important sporting event. The preparations are still ongoing in the province to ensure the smooth running of this event.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, our today's edition comes to a close. Thank you for joining us.